Artists, a casual conversation for artists and would-be artists and collectors to kind of understand a little bit of what goes on behind the scenes of being a working artist, and also just to really kind of understand a little bit of the life of the artist and understand the motivation and the inspiration and stuff that goes into the work. So very excited this week to talk to Vicki Carruthers. So for people who don't know her, well, once you've met her, you totally remember her because she's very energetic, very bright, full of joy. Her colors are full of joy, and so I'm really looking forward to chatting with her. I'm going to bring her on board right now because I can see her here. Cool. And for people who missed the 11 o'clock, because I know a lot of people can't make 11 o'clock on Thursdays, then
Hi.
I will have it Instagrammed. Hey, how are you?
Now, I have my earbuds in. Is that what I should be doing?
Yeah, I do too. I just put one in and one out.
Okay, because I just got them, and it's just weird. It's so weird. Is that
So the other thing I find that sometimes actually helps is to turn off your Wi-Fi. Yeah, if you turn your Wi-Fi off and use your phone, do you have your Wi-Fi on? Turn off your Wi-Fi and just use your phone data.
Okay.
Every single week we have some sort of technical issue. Hey, Jane. And Jane, I don't know what went wrong with last week's interview. Somehow we only got 15 minutes worth of it, which is so disappointing because we had such a great conversation. So we'll have to definitely redo that again. I think Vicki might be, I'm going to just actually cancel her, remove her, and then maybe bring her back on board again because I think there might have been a challenge with some of her Wi-Fi. Yeah, I'm not seeing her now. Okay, well, you know, I can still dream that one day we will have a technically perfect interview. So I'm glad it's just here, my friends here joining me. So I'm hoping that Vicki can join us again. Looks like she lost her. Oh, there she is again. Okay, let's try again. Okay.
Okay. Here now, I can move. Like there's in my studio the Wi-Fi isn't as good. How's that?
That's good.
Is that okay? Because I can move.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Because my studio is on the other side of the house, so sometimes the Wi-Fi isn't as good.
Yeah, well, and I have found too that I tend to turn the Wi-Fi off and then use my data because the Wi-Fi keeps flipping in and out for me. But
okay, so I did that. I turned it off.
Excellent. Okay.
Hello,
so anyway,
Kate.
Hi. So good to see you
Nice
and to see your face, and you always are so happy and optimistic, and
well,
it's always so lovely to connect.
I like to have fun, so and this is very sweet of you to ask me to chat with you today. So thank you. It's fun. It's really sweet of you. And you've been
well, and it's totally selfish, really, because it allows me to kind of reach out to people that I really like and have conversations, and makes me kind of forget for an hour a week that I'm not actually trapped with social isolation and can't do my outdoor shows and can't talk to people and can't hug people and all that stuff.
No, and I think COVID has created such amazing opportunities for people. You probably wouldn't be doing this, right? Like it's amazing.
Oh, so true. This has actually been on my to-do list for over 2 years. So I've got like the expensive microphone, figured it all out, but I never really quite had the time to do it. And I think that I didn't maybe have well, it's a little bit intimidating, right? So I didn't really have the impetus to do it either. But once COVID hit, I'm like, okay, now's the time, because I think also people will be forgiving of technical challenges. Although now I've been doing it for 3 months.
I've been watching
technical challenges.
I've been watching you. And you do a very good job, because this video thing is like, I don't know where to look. Like it's a weird thing talking on video.
I know. It's really strange. I find that with Zoom too. But anyway, so tell us what you're working on right now. What's got you totally stoked?
Well, you got me actually at a really great time, because COVID has created me to move forward, and I'm revamping my whole website. So I have a phenomenal website team called Web of Words, super team in Newmarket. And because I decided I needed to offer prints. What's that?
Oh, I think that's, sorry, I'm doing this outside. I think it's like a huge honking helicopter.
I'm thinking, I'm inside, I'm going, where's the airplane?
No, that would be me. Sorry. I thought it was quiet today. There's no construction.
No, that's okay. And they're not cutting my grass today. So this is really exciting. This has gone crazy, because I've had so many demands for prints over the last few years, like hundreds. And I can't keep up with my painting requests. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
this will alleviate kind of people can get a print if they want to. So I've redesigned my whole website, which I'm thrilled, and it's going to be launched the end of this month. I hired an amazing videographer for my cottage, Luke Smith, and he did a video, and it turned out. So my inspiration is Georgian Bay. So the video just captures my personality up there from my kayak and the water and the rocks. So I'm thrilled with that. Hired an amazing photographer, Nikki Mills, who came to the cottage and took pictures during storms and sunshine and like unbelievable. It just all the ducks lined up, and a great printer who does fulfillment. And if we have time, I could show you one of my prints beside an original, and you'll die. Like, they're spectacular. So my work being flat and colorful reproduces well. So for me right now, it's been a lot of work, huge commitment, but I'm thrilled about this.
I'm sorry.
Is that someone moving their chairs next door?
Yeah.
That's
But
okay.
I was listening. I was just trying to cover my microphone.
This is not me.
So it's
Yes.
interesting. No, it's always me. It's always me. That's a problem. So
No.
I'm interested to know actually more about the prints, because I know that I've been asked also a lot of times, and Julia Veenstra has had such success with prints, has really been every time I talk to her, she's like, Kate, are you doing prints yet? Are you doing prints yet? And I haven't quite been able to wrap my head around doing it. I also am in a situation where I can't really keep up.
Yes.
And so it would be a good thing to do. I just haven't quite figured out how to reconcile it with the business and how you kind of set it up so it doesn't end up being more work. So can you talk a little bit about how you've actually structured that?
It's actually going to be no work once it's set up. This is the
That
most
sounds
amazing thing. Now, your work's a little bit different. It's gorgeous. It's abstract. You paint a lot more than I do. So I can only get realistically 35 paintings done in 1 year. So when I have 13 commissions lined up, so that they're waiting.
Wow.
And so like it takes me a week to do a painting. So, from the design, from doing it, layering it, polymer outline, like it's a huge commitment. So I think prints for me is going to work amazingly. So the greatest thing is you just getting your e-commerce set up. So you have to archive the photos of the work. So on my new website, I'm only offering 15 images for print. So I know Julia, she's got lots of images. I chose.
Well, she's been doing it for a long time too, though.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she's built her inventory.
Oh yeah, and she's been my guiding light through this. She really has. Julia?
She'll get all of us on prints eventually. I can know it. Yeah.
I love you. I just saw her yesterday.
Yep.
But she I put it out on Instagram and was looking for a photographer because I've been worse person at archiving the images. And when they're gone, like each painting of mine is like a baby. So once it's gone, it's like they've gone off to university or something, never to see again. And usually when you buy a Vicki, you get me for life. You get me as a friend. My connection with people, that's what my art's all about, is the relationship. I love everybody who buys my art. So like I've got a guy coming today buying a huge one. I've never met him. We chatted online, and he's so excited. I'm so excited, and that's what happens, right? But so
yeah, I think that's a wonderful thing about I think especially these days when things are, a lot of people are struggling emotionally and stuff, and then to basically bring something into your home that not only is really joyful by the actual painting of yours, but also to get a little bit of a Vicki energy into your home too is wonderful.
But so the print thing, Kate, you'll love. So once you get it set up, so I have my 15 images archived and photographed to the highest capability. So now I have use of them for publication. The other thing is I have use of them forever. So I've archived the photographs so I can access making a print of my work forever. So I'm like thrilled. So now when they're gone, they're not really gone. So I'm so thrilled.
Right.
So then I will offer varying sizes. Now, the exciting thing for me is I'm only offering 3 sizes for the medium it's being printed on. So one, it's being G clay, which is the highest form of reproduction, on canvas, stretched, gallery size with the black frame, identical to my originals. So I'll show you before you leave. They're spectacular.
And so what's the price difference? Is it like a percentage of
It's
the original
probably a
price?
quarter. Probably a
So that's a
quarter.
great deal.
I include the shipping, I include the frame. So if you're getting a G clay on canvas, you get the black frame, which my work needs. I mean, my work just doesn't seem finished without it. So
well, I think especially
then
the black outline, it really echoes the black
it's
frame,
just
right?
really
So
good. And then it
yeah.
keeps it, I think also it's protected for life. Like, it doesn't get dented. The frame might get dented, but the art will always be protected. And he even puts like a polymer varnish on it, so for UV rays. He says the prints will last over 100 years. And then I'm offering it on a watercolor paper, but they will get it rolled and they have to frame it. And then I'm offering it on a poster paper, and it looks unbelievable on the poster paper. Like, my stuff would look great for posters and billboards and all sorts of crazy stuff. But so the greatest thing is, so they're going to go online. They're going to choose
And do you
what
sign
they
them?
want.
Like
So
do you hand sign them or?
what I decided, because people asked, if you order the G clay on canvas at the original size, so if the original painting was 30 by 30, you can probably get it at 20 by 20 or 40 by 40. So you can choose a side based on the ratio of the original. But if you order the original size, it's a limited edition of 100. So once that 100 is done, I figure once a year, every 6, I'll rotate the images from my website. So I will remove some and I'll put some back. And maybe, let's say 5 of them are always being requested for print. Then I might change up the other 10 that maybe aren't moving. Just so I have control of the images. But so what happens is I will sign the back and send the person a certificate of authenticity that it's a limited edition. So they say for
Oh, that's
future,
cool.
for resale or auction or other things that will be more valuable. It'll be the next most valuable to the original. And they look they look unbelievable. So the cool thing is, with my printer Don, I'll do a shout out to him, who Julia uses. Poor
Okay.
Don, he's going to get busy. So he's in
Yes.
Hamilton. So my website will be set up. I will get notification on my phone. Kate's bought a print. She bought this size, blah, blah, blah. I get paid, and I get right away. You can't buy a print without paying me. The notification goes to Don. He sees it. Okay, I got to do a 30 by 30 stretched G clay canvas. We got to wrap it. I got to put the black frame on it, and I got to ship it. He does it all. So I just go, oh, Kate bought a print. Peter bought a print. John bought a print. Okay. And I have worked with Dawn that we've worked through all the little nitty gritties of the color matching and everything, and the canvas quality that he's working on, and the varnish that he's used. And for my work, it's difficult to print in a lot of ways because it's flat shapes of color. So he has to go in and color match, which
Yeah, like
is,
really boost it.
and yours, kind of like Julia's, would be probably easier to reproduce.
Some of it is easier. I mean, getting the wood grain. One of my
See that?
challenges is
Yeah,
if I forget to photograph it before I resin it, I can never get a good quality photograph. It just, even with
absolutely.
proper studio lighting and everything. So that's part of the challenge. I just have to
Yeah.
remember to photograph it before I actually resin it. And then in a lot of cases too, the wood grain doesn't really show up as well. So I'm definitely thinking about it. I'm trying to figure out how to also create, like yours, to create a print that doesn't feel like it's kind of a slapdash print and a very inferior option to the original, right? I think it's more
Right.
of it's a beautiful option to the original for people who just can't afford the original.
Right.
You
And you
know,
could maybe
I,
pick 10 Like you do a lot. Maybe pick
Yeah.
10 of your most favorite. And Don also, I take all my finished pieces and he photographs them because he's a phenomenal photographer. And he'll send me a JPEG and a high resolution photo. So I have an archive of everything in the cloud for the rest of my life that I can access. And the cool thing about prints, I called this guy. He said, because someone said to me, what if I want to, okay, so the whole thing with my commissions now has changed. And this might be interesting moving forward for other artists out there that I'd like to share. So let's say I have a lot of people, most of my commissions are, come to their cottage, do a sketch. They want their 3 trees, they want a blue sky, and they want a Vicki painting. So absolutely, I go and we have this great connection. We have lunch, we have wine. It's the best thing.
I know. Yeah, I know. Don't you miss all of that stuff? I miss that stuff. And delivering a painting and having wine and celebrating. And
I've still done it a little bit. I'm bad. But anyways, so the one right here is a finished commission. And so how I direct my conversation with them now is I will do a painting that I love and you get first rights to buy it. So it takes the stress off. I've never asked for a down payment or anything on a commission. I've never had a problem with anyone taking the piece. But this way, I still have the rights to the image and I can print it forever. Because
I think by Canadian copyright law, I believe you can anyway. Like you always own the image, even if they own the painting.
But some clients are
don't like it. Yeah.
They don't want it. So this is what my art guy, consultant told me. So if he wants me to never print it, then I'm going to charge him $25,000 for that piece. I'm going to say that.
Right, because it's the revenue that's embedded in the prints.
Yeah, I can make $100,000 off that painting in my lifetime, maybe. And but he said, don't forget, when I die, heaven forbid, my daughters and my husband have total rights to all my work. I leave that. So they can do whatever they want with it. So if they see that image, because they own the image, they could print it. So really there's no guarantee that piece, I look at Tom Thompson and Ted Harrison, Norval Morrisseau, like their stuff is being printed constantly. And who's controlling that, right? So, in the future, I think that the printing thing is exciting, Kate, because your work is going to live forever. It's going to go on and on forever. Legacy of Vicki Carruthers all over the world. No, but I'm excited about that for my family.
No, I agree. Like I think it's actually and someone was actually just recommending for mine maybe documenting the wood panel first and then the painting on top of it and sort of almost superimposing it. It's kind of an interesting kind of concept.
There's so much you could do, but you have to change your website. E-commerce is a bit finicky. You have to have certain. I had to change to WordPress and blah 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 to get it all lined up. Which
I think it was also the other thing I think will be just quite fascinating is the whole market research with that. Like you'll and I do this with my little treasures, my 6x6s, but even more so with prints. Like you'll get a really good sense of which ones are the popular ones and which ones are, not as popular based on what sells, right? And that's kind of cool.
You never know, right? One you hate ends up being selling, right?
Oh, always. How often does that happen? I was just talking to somebody in the studio the other day, and Karen, and she's just like, I don't know if I like it. I said, well, we're doing this outdoor show this weekend. Put it out there because, someone else might love it the way it is. And sometimes the artist is not the best person to know if it's finished or not. You get so close to them.
It's true. I've had paintings, like this is years ago, one of a kind. And client wanted to come to the house. I was actually going to rip the painting up and they bought it. And I thought, oh, God.
Yeah. I've done that before. My sister is terrible for that. And she was just like, I just painted over it. I'm like, why? And then because invariably the universe says that somebody wants that painting a week after you paint over it, right?
Yeah, you just don't know, right? So, no. So it's exciting. It's a very exciting. COVID has done this for me in a sense that I think people seem to be making decisions and doing things and buying art, and maybe because they have more time and they thought about something, they're sitting at home, they want to, cover that wall. I don't know. The art world
I'm definitely finding that. I think it's not only that people are spending more time actually looking at their space that they live in, as opposed to being in a hurry. But I think the reality is for a lot of people, they have disposable income that was targeted and tagged for vacations and things like that just are not happening in this foreseeable future. I did a show a couple weeks ago, and I had quite a few people say, "Oh, it was amazing!" Like we had about, this was before the limitations to 25 people, but we had about 600 people over the weekend.
Wow!
And everyone wore masks. Everyone signed their contact tracing form. There was never more than a few people in the tent at a time, so that was amazing. And we're doing it again this weekend at Art Alchemy as part of Art Walk Square. But there were quite a few people too that specifically made the decision to buy art now to support local artists, which I thought was also really wonderful. Yeah. That's
fantastic. Wow. No, good for you.
So it's interesting, you mentioned Norval Morrisseau, and I can totally see that Group of Seven is an influence, and Norval Morrisseau makes a lot of sense, and I love his work. I've loved his work for years as well. And it just, it's so funny because I'd never actually connected your work with Norval Morrisseau, and then I read that, I'm like, oh, of course, it's such an obvious connection, like just with the energy and the outlines and the color palettes and capturing of nature and the optimism.
He was my number one influencer in how I paint. Like people say Group of Seven, I say Group of One. Tom and I paint the same trees, but and I love seeing their work, but I don't really feel I'm influenced. But Norval Morrisseau, years ago, two things happened. I taught art at a good friend of mine's camp for over 16 years. And she built this studio. It's Campo Canto. It's an amazing place for young girls. All my girls went. And she built a studio, and she said, Vicki, I never learned how to do art growing up. I want you to come and teach the girls art. So it wasn't crafts.
Oh, how fun.
Art. It was for 16 years. My girls went to this incredible place north of Kingston. So when I arrived to the studio, this is 20 years ago or more, one of her friends, as a thank you for having your daughter at camp, gave her a book on Norval Morrisseau. I have it here. And it was on the table in the studio, and I opened it up. And so when I taught for years, I used his imagery of shapes and color and outline, because the line always gives you success. And with kids, when I taught in the school systems, every image I used, whether it was something abstract, landscape, facial things, animals, I did the same thing. Shapes, color, line, and it was all from him. And my red skies that are my most popular are because of him. His red, and if you stand in a room at McMichael by yourself, which I did by fluke once, surrounded by his work, like it's unbelievably emotional, the color. So I think it moved me, and it took me a while to be confident to show these, and because they're kind of different, right? I got a little bit
different,
of that.
but I do think there's a part of the Canadian psyche as well that is kind of almost primed to really thrive on that red background and that red kind of element or outline that a lot of the Group of Seven used. Like you see that in a lot of like Julia, the way Julia paints, and Gordon Harrison, a lot of people were there
first.
Yeah. Which I think, and my sister too, I think she uses fluorescent pink right now. She's in that kind of phase. But
no,
it does create a really interesting, I think, dynamic and energy to the paintings.
Yeah, the red is, I call it red is best, like that book, because the red just, and I don't know if I should say this live on Instagram, but one of my major, biggest clients of all is men. So all you men out there, come on over. I would say 75%.
Go hang with Vicki. She's super fun.
75% are men. They
That's
love
interesting.
red, and it's simple. Not saying that men are simple, but they see something in it, and many times they go, "Oh my God, I was just there. Oh my gosh, it reminds me of this." Oh, and they have always influenced their wives or partners or whatever to buy things. It's a lot of times the men, which I just think is fascinating.
I think that's interesting too. In my kind of experiences in my painting as well, because I obviously use a lot of color as well, I totally agree with you that the men are driven towards the oranges and the reds. like when I do an outdoor show, I'll invariably put a piece that has a lot of orange in the background in the back of my tent because I know it'll bring men in. And the women tend to buy more of my aquas and turquoises and more tranquil kind of pieces.
It's funny, eh? Like, I find
Yeah.
that interesting. So,
Maybe it's a confidence. I mean, to buy a red painting is a bold decision too. You know, it really
yeah, it is.
dominates the space, and maybe there's just a confidence level there that maybe more men feel than women when they're buying those kind of bright colors. I don't know. It'd be interesting to do the psychology of that.
I don't know. It's been very interesting over the years. It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah,
I like that.
totally. And so
So,
you obviously were at this camp you were doing, but then you've also created, I think, classes through the Art Maker. Is that like a separate business, or is that just kind of how you structure your art business? Or
so that's a
you
long
talk?
time ago. So Art Maker. So um, when I taught at camp, and then my girls were young in school in York Region, I always would help out with the art part for, that's where I'd volunteer was with the art. And a teacher came up to me and asked me if I would do a special thing in my kids' school where I would teach every single class in the whole school an art program. And at the very end, we had a festival of the arts. So every kid in the school had a piece hanging. It was probably
That's
the
very
most
cool.
remarkable thing I did. I did it for about 5 years. One school, we built totem poles at the front. The whole school was involved. All the kids built 5 totem poles based on images of education and what they felt school was. So there'd be a big apple on the totem pole. They were flat totem poles, but they were amazing. But that experience was really influenced me in my work today because I would give, like I did at camp, I would only give certain colors. I never gave browns, beiges, grays. I always had colors that were bold. I always taught them about use your imagination and the world, like trees don't have to be green. Once you give children the permission, that's the word, to do it on their own. So I have a portfolio of the work they did, and I was in complete awe. A lot of things were out, but we used different surfaces like old LPs, driftwood. We used stone. We did collage. We did wire. So every class had a different experience. It was a 5 years of I worked hard because it's a lot of work when you're a teacher. And at the end of it, there was a time I just kind of said, 15 years ago, I said, that's it. I'm done. It's my time. And all those influences what is how I paint today. Because when I was at Queen's for fine arts, it was all black and white lithography. I had a real difficulty with color. So
very abstract.
Very abstract, flat, which is still good. But so the childlike symbolically fun, energetic pieces. Like every child did a successful piece. It was really so I called my business the Art Maker back then. So the Art Maker is my email that is just stuck. And but
that's cool.
So the odd time now, if someone asks, I'll do a little workshop, which I did a couple of days ago at a beautiful place, Waverly Farms.
Yeah, I saw that. Girl,
she owns the property and she does workshops. And she asked, it's my second one, and it's the most fun day. There's so many people that are dying to paint or get out and be creative, and it just gives them the opportunity to come and look at life through child's eyes and just have fun. And they do amazing work.
Oh, I found that too, because Angela and I run Creative Adventures, and it's designed for to help people just tap into their creativity, like for non-artists, and to enjoy it and embrace the serendipity and have fun with it and stuff. And it is amazing that people really go into it not thinking they're going to be able to produce anything that they're going to be proud of. And at the end of the day, they're always blown away. And and they keep saying, "Oh, you're a great teacher," and I'm not. I said, "It's not about the teacher. It's about giving you permission just to enjoy your creativity, right? You've got it inside you."
Where do you do that?
Well, we actually did a couple at Alton Mills, the art center. So we tried to actually partner. So these are like full day events, And so we try and partner it with within an art gallery, so people get exposed to art. At Alton Mills, it was great because there's art studios, so people could go through the studios. And then we did encaustic. We've done hand painting silk scarves. We partnered with Petrov Gallery and I did an abstract painting class. So,
Wow,
you know,
that's
we drink some
fun.
wine. It's super fun. Yeah, we really enjoy it. And then when COVID hit, a lot of people said, oh, you should go online. And I'm like, part of the fun of it for me is that energy of getting together and doing a bit of improv and being goofy and enjoying that experience.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
we'll resurrect it again because it's been a lot of fun. And I've had a lot of people actually reach out and sort of say, well, when is it going to open again? I'm like, I don't know. It's not up to me.
I know. I think she just squeezed in because the barn was all open and outside and airy, but now it might be tougher.
I know, because we were starting to talk again with PI actually to do one in there because they've got quite a large space and we can have lots of. But now that the rules have changed again, I'm not sure if that's actually going to be feasible. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of share too, like because I know I've only done a little bit of teaching, and a friend of mine invited me to teach at the School for the Deaf, and same thing. I taught every child in the school, and it was also just a fascinating experience. And so I went through my basic. This is how I do my backgrounds and blah blah blah. But I thought it was really interesting to first of all communicate. I had to be really conscious of how I was communicating because they're deaf, so I had to make sure that I was really enunciating properly and stuff, which was kind of interesting. And then they would, make a joke between themselves, and they would all laugh, and of course I wouldn't be part of the joke until they translated it for me. But the cool thing is how they can take the same instruction and create such a vastly different array of final pieces. And same thing, it was just quite remarkable, the quality of the work, and
That's beautiful.
Just fun. It was really
You're
cool.
a good person.
Well, it was a friend of mine, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Like I have to tell you, I'm sort of shallow because I'm really motivated by is it going to be fun? If it's going to be fun, I'll do it. If not, I'm not interested.
Well, and you get a bunch of women together, and it's fun.
It is. You throw in some mimosas. Yeah, I know. It's great. So I'm really kind of missing those. I'm looking forward to resurrecting those again, but that will happen. We'll have to do something together. That'd be fun.
No, I would love to do it. I would love to do it. It's funny because Jane Fleetwood Morrow, oh, well, you interviewed her.
I interviewed her last week. Yeah.
So years ago, we taught together. Like she was at, what was the school she was at? Crescent Boys School. And I would come in. We did a couple of workshops together. And then she also taught at the same camp. So we did stuff together. It's fun to get together. I'd love to do something with you. I love to give back. I love to share and give back. Anything anyone wants. I just love that about the arts. And I love this. You and me and sharing and being together. I know,
and it's such a great art community. Well, it's so funny because at the Artist Network, everyone laughs at me now because my mantra is a rising tide floats all boats. So help where you can. You help another artist, and the whole industry gets helped, right?
No, that's a great.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I like that. I think it feels good, and I had a lot of people help me when I was starting out. So I think some of it is, pay it forward, right? Help where you can.
Yeah, I love the young kids when at Artist Project. When they come and speak to you.
I love them too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and the students that have their lists of. Yeah. Can I take your photograph? Question? I've been told I have to ask permission.
Yeah, no, that's cute. Yeah, we're lucky, Kate, that we do what we do. I feel grateful and blessed.
Yeah,
really.
Me too. Yeah. And so, what else? What's kind of in the future? Then you're obviously going to launch your prints, and that's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I am just I personally I just had a grandson. I'm having another grandchild in December.
Oh, lovely.
We're closing our cottage. We've been up there all summers, and my husband built me a beautiful studio on the island, so that was a joy. But I have to really work hard. I have these commissions that I've said. I'm excited to create something for each person, and that keeps me motivated. It's the connection with the person and the delivery and the excitement of, I don't know, if I just, sometimes my husband would say, if you just went and painted every day, would you have the same motivation to paint as hard as I do? Part of me would love to hire someone to help me paint. Brito, Brito? So he has a whole enterprise of people that paints his but I change my colors right up to the very last minute. So, I just thought if they're filling in the background, but
I know, but I
I
think part of it too don't is the energy of the piece. I'm
the
not sure
energy,
you get the same energy if
because
someone
it
else
would
is
be,
outlining it for you.
and they'd
It becomes
probably have bumps.
formulaic.
Yeah, they'd have bumps and stuff that I'd hate, and it would bother me. And each piece is like you. It's your baby, and I'm so excited about each piece. So I'm excited actually to be about kind of getting home and in this studio and working hard and lots of wonderful family stuff. You should apply. I applied to that artist residency outside of Paris
Oh, in
called
France, Charles
Chateau Corveret.
or Joiseau or something. Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking because I've been
And
following them for ages.
Julie Hawkins went a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So I deferred it because it was supposed to be this November, which I was over thrilled
Oh,
because I
that's
was
right.
going to take huge rolled canvases. I was going to be like back at university with the huge canvases, and I was just going to do crazy landscapes. But I deferred it till next October, the last 2 weeks. You should apply and come.
I will.
You apply.
Okay, last 2 weeks of
Studio.
October. So So you have to obviously go through the application process. Have you done a lot of artist residencies, or is this a new thing for you?
Julie Hawkins did it, and she said, "Vicki, you should apply." And I was just ready for something new. I
Yeah.
just like I want to do something for me, and just I want to do a bit of travel. And when I saw this, and I actually emailed a lot of people who had gone, just because sometimes I'm not confident about making that decision on my own. And everybody who replied, now we're all friends on Instagram. Vicki, you got to go. Amazing experience. So like 25 other artists from all over the world. You connect. Amazing food, great places to run, and then you can piggyback. I was going to have my daughters come out and spend 5 days in Paris after as a treat. Like,
Oh,
but
lovely.
have that 2 weeks. Even like this. I love the artist
Yeah.
project because we connect with all the artists. I
Yeah.
love it.
I really
And
miss that this summer.
uh, yeah, and getting together. So I think this is another opportunity to just grow and have
Yeah.
fun and be crazy and drink French wine and eat croissants and just get out of
Totally.
your comfort zone. You get your own studio 24/7 all day. They feed you. Like, what better
Yeah,
thing?
holy, what a luxury. And
So,
it's funny because my sister and I have been talking about, like, I'd love to do an artist residency with her and do a collaboration where the two of us work on something that's inspired by where the residency is.
right.
And just, I don't know, that would be really fun too. I'll have to get her to join too.
You
The
should
three of us will
have her
go.
apply.
Yeah,
Because I
I
know they're
will.
still taking, because a lot of things have been deferred and people maybe canceled, and
Yeah.
um, I
And
don't
so do
know.
you have to apply with a concept of what you're looking at doing, or is it
No,
just like, this is the work
no.
I'm doing and take
They
me because
look
I'm
at
great?
I think you have to write why you want to, sure, your website, lots of questions, um, and then you wait. I don't know. It wasn't that difficult to apply. Like, it wasn't a lot of
Okay.
your portfolio, of course, and and just keep bugging them. Like, I bugged them on Instagram. I connected
Yeah, no, it's funny.
before.
It just occurred to me because I was following them on Instagram and I was seeing their stuff a lot, and I haven't seen their stuff for a while. So I don't know if that's an Instagram algorithm probably, because it was always my reminder of like, oh yeah, I really should
Do
apply. I
it.
really should
Do
think
it
about it.
today.
Okay, I'm going to do it.
Do it,
I'm going
baby.
to commit to you. You're going to be my accountability buddy. I'm going to commit to
Okay.
doing that.
The weekend's coming. You can work on it on the weekend.
Yes,
So
after my show on Saturday.
okay. So that's nice. It's going to be nice on Saturday. It's going to be a
I think
beautiful
so, yeah.
day. Oh,
It's very
nice.
interesting too because with all the COVID protocols, you have to kind of just really think about, like, 'cause there's going to be 6 of us outdoors in a parking lot, so it's going to be pretty safe and people wear masks and stuff, and
But see,
so it'll
there
be
you're
it'll be
connecting.
good.
I'm at a wedding on Saturday, so just a small
Oh, that's fun.
25. Yeah, no, I mean, but no
Yeah, because it has to be.
dancing. No dancing. You can't dance.
Oh yeah, you can't sing.
And I've got the COVID plus 10, and I don't know if my dress fits, but we'll figure it out. Don't you find you've been eating and drinking too much? Anyways, I have.
Oh, absolutely. No, I think I'm definitely doing the COVID-19. I think I'm up there.
Yeah. Um,
But
Now,
oh well, there's still
how
time to lose
long?
the weight before you go to Paris and then eat croissants.
No, because you got to eat the food and the French food and the
Totally.
talk to Julie. She says it was life altering. She made a best friend from somewhere in the States.
Yeah.
She said it was
I've talked to a number of
fantastic.
people who've done, done residencies recently, and I definitely, it was like you, it was on my list of things to do in 2020. Just because I think that it's nice to push out of your comfort zone and do something different, go to someplace different. The whole travel for art mantra is something I'm really trying to live my life by. But it's so much challenging this year than past years.
Yeah, and it's in the region of Champagne, I believe. Champagne, just south of Paris, 4 hours south of Paris. Beautiful
Oh,
countryside, like
lovely.
gorgeous. Then you could spend a few days in Paris and shop.
Yeah.
Oh, and she showed me there's an art store in Paris to
Is
die
it called
for.
Chauvin?
Yes, you've been there.
I did, yeah. And
I
I've
need to
just
go
run
there.
out of my most amazing green that I got there, which I'm now trying to figure out if I can order it. But it's just like, oh, to order it from Paris is really expensive.
If you don't go and I go, I'll pick it up for you.
Okay. And I knew it, when I bought it too, I videotaped on my Instagram the shop because it was such a beautiful, quaint shop with all these wooden shelves, and the colors were just so juicy. They were so wonderful. And they're kind of expensive. So even as I was buying these small tubes of paint, I'm like, I know I'm going to regret not buying more and buying bigger tubes, which I did. Totally
Wow.
regretted.
Yeah, that excites me. Just going to like an art store. Like we get excited
Oh
about an
yeah,
art store. Like just
yeah.
a new
My
brush or
favorite was
something.
in
But
Seattle. I think it was Daniel Stevens when
okay.
they create watercolors, and they were creating these line of acrylics where they actually would grind down lapis lazuli and stuff. So they were all just beautiful duotone colors. And my sister and I went there. I think we spent about 4 hours there because it's huge. And they're like, "Oh,
Wow.
would you like to try some of this? Do you want to try some of this paper? Would you like to try this paint?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." We sat there. We
Wow.
goofed around for, yeah, it was probably 4 hours, and bought, of
Wow.
course, a ton of stuff because it was beautiful. And then they discontinued their acrylics, and I was just so upset.
What acrylics do you use?
I probably use mostly the Liquitex heavy body just because my work's really textural and I like it to not fall
Yeah.
off my palette knife. But it kind of depends. I find I'm not really committed to one brand. It's more that I like different colors in different brands.
Right. Right. Right.
And Liquid Mirror from TriArt is one that I could never paint without. Like, I have to have that. It's in everything.
Called liquid what?
It's called Liquid Mirror, and it's like a
Mirror.
super metallic, shiny, almost like a shiny
Uh,
white, silvery white.
yeah,
And I mix it with
I
everything.
noticed that in your work. Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's ridiculously expensive, but I love it.
Yeah, it's worth it though. I would spend more money on art supplies than anything. I would give up
Yeah.
food. No, I wouldn't
Well,
give up
I
food.
love that. There's a meme that's going on Instagram too. It's just like, this is what people think $100 worth of art supplies looks like, and it's like all these stuff, and it's like, this is the reality of $100 of art supplies, and it's 2 tubes of paint.
I know. Like when I get the bill, I kind of go, really?
Ooh.
Oh, because
What
I
do you
use
like? What do you
golden.
use?
I use golden fluid because mine's layers and layers, and I don't want any bumps. But
Yeah,
there's a
it's very, very
couple,
smooth.
and the colors are spectacular. Like the phthalo blues or greens, and you add white to. I don't know. I can't say the word online, but it's that exciting for me. And Liquitex, I love their soft body. They have a lime green. Do you know their lime green? Oh, I
I
can't
love the
get
lime
it.
green.
Yeah, they're so I mixed a bit of Liquitex and golden, but golden has been because I like the fluid because it gives me the
Yeah.
flatness.
Well, I
So
use the golden fluid acrylics for my staining the wood.
right.
Like, I mix that with an airbrush medium, so it's like super, super translucent. And that's how I can kind of build up those layers. Yeah. But
I'd
the
like
other
to
color
try.
is, sorry?
I'd like to try resin, but you have to do it on the wood, right?
No, well, I
Yeah,
did
you do,
canvas at
right?
the beginning, but you have to support the canvas. And I'm always nervous because the resin is not flexible, that if the canvas flexes, it's going to crack.
Okay. I'd
So
like to
wood is a
try
lot
one.
easier. But for
Maybe
sure,
I'll
especially a
try
small
one
one, you could
this
easily
winter.
do.
Just a little
Yeah.
mini one.
Oh, I'll come
Okay.
over and help you. I'll give you some
Okay.
tips.
You can come. Where do you live? Where do you live, by the way?
I'm in Toronto, Young Lawrence.
But didn't you,
You're
young? Okay,
Aurora,
young.
right?
My husband grew up on in Young and right at Young and Lawrence on Limestone. His
Okay.
whole life.
Yeah, I know that street. Yeah.
But I'm in Aurora. But didn't you just buy a cottage, your parents' cottage or something?
It's my parents' cottage north of Kingston. Yeah.
No, what
Charlotte Lake
lake?
area. It's
Okay,
13
so
Island Lake, so it's really small.
Charlotte Lake, the camp I worked at for 16 years is on Eagle Lake, right there.
Oh, I know Eagle Lake. Yeah, some friend of mine
Camp
has a cottage on
Oconto.
Eagle Lake.
Do
Yeah.
you see the
Oh,
sign? Camp Oconto.
yeah.
You'll have to go in and say hi to Lisa, the
I
owner.
will. Yeah.
She's
We're
no,
actually
you
south
have
of
to.
Charlotte Lake, but I love that area and I love that landscape.
So it's yours now.
It is. Yeah.
That's exciting. I saw that. That's really exciting.
It is. I mean, it's my family's cottage, so I've been there for many years, but it's interesting how when it's yours, all of a sudden you're like, maybe I need to put an art studio in. Maybe I need to do this, you
You
know?
need to put a studio in. Put a studio and go and hang
Yeah.
out.
Well, and I
You
paint
know,
outside there, which is great in the summer, but not so easy in the winter. So definitely
right.
thinking about that. And we put in
Wow.
Wi-Fi so I can actually work up there. So,
Fantastic. No, I was very happy
yeah.
for you. It's nice to have a place to get away, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think we're coming to the end, so I'm going to ask you my Kate's Quickies
Uh-oh.
questions.
Uh-oh.
Do you have any studio rituals that you kind of always do?
CBC radio. I don't paint this thing. It's going to fall out. I don't paint without CBC radio. I mean, my studio, if I gave you, is a disaster. And I guess I work within a disaster, but I love to have my CBC radio on. I feel like I'm with
Yeah.
someone. So ritual, that would probably be it. Otherwise, I live in the disaster, an organized chaos.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always feel more creative, frankly, in an organized chaos anyway. If it's
And
really
Keith
clean, I
says,
just don't feel creative.
well, I mix all my paints and put them in these jars. So my colors are all mixed by me. And I got jars, if I showed you, everywhere. And Keith comes up, my husband, and says, I don't you touch those jars because that's from a painting that I know where it is and it's not finished. Like, don't
Yeah.
touch anything
Don't move anything.
and so it is quite, artists are kind of quirky that way, right?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
I know. It is nice to have. It's one of the reasons I like having my space at Art Alchemy, right? Because it could be total disaster. And I can just turn the light off and walk out the door. And it's going to be exactly the same way when I come in the next day.
Aren't we lucky? But I
Very
love
lucky.
CBC. Do you listen to anything?
Well, it's funny because I actually listen to CBC all the time. And when I used to do a lot of driving, and I really do miss that. So I've been listening to the podcast Art Juice, which I'm kind of enjoying.
Oh, okay. Art
And
Juice.
Art Juice. Yeah, these two women in England, and they just kind of chat about art stuff. Like, it's one of those podcasts that would be totally boring if you weren't an artist, but I find it quite fascinating.
Well,
And then
I'll
I
look
just
it up.
crank the music. Yeah.
Okay.
And okay, so not including your artist residency, where's your dream place to travel?
Well, Keith and I went to Africa. I can't tell you, South Africa, Cape Town, outstanding experience of my whole entire life. Like, I don't even know if I could beat that, but I want to go to New Zealand. I love the
I've heard that's supposed
outdoors.
to be
I don't
beautiful.
like cities. I'd like to hike. I like wide outdoors, and I like the animals, to see the animals in their natural habitat in Africa. Like, I highly recommend anyone to go there. It was unbelievable. So I feel I had my dream trip. Really, it was
I was supposed to go
spectacular.
to Morocco in 2 weeks. I was looking forward to that, but it's not happening. It'll happen
It will.
sometime.
Okay, it will.
Yeah,
It will happen. It'll
just
be even better.
not in 2
I
weeks.
guarantee you.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. Well, you can come to Aurora. I can make you
Okay,
lunch.
that's
We can
almost the
sit
same.
outside. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a pool, and I got, you can come and hang out.
That'd be fun. Yeah,
I
let's do
can get
that.
dressed up, and we can. I can make you some Middle Eastern food and stuff like that. So anyway.
Okay, I'm there. That sounds perfect. And do you have like a big hairy ass goal of what you'd like to achieve in the next couple of years?
My dream is to do a children's book. That's
Oh,
one of
cool.
my big. I have a young friend of mine who's just become her first book called Women Before Wallace. She's 32, family friend. My niece, she just became a best time seller, first book, but she's going to help me write my children's book. I'd like to be published. I'd like to be dream for my art. I don't know. I just got something about being published and write it and do a children's book. Something like
Oh,
that.
it sounds lovely.
That's all.
Cool. Well, I think we're just following Julia's footsteps. She's done that too, right?
Yeah, yeah. She's done everything. Her energy. Julia,
We're just
are
going to
you
copy
listening?
her. Yeah. Julia, if you're listening, we're just going to copy you just to warn you.
You know what's so good? All of us were very community minded and sharing and giving and supporting. And I think
Yeah.
it's my
I think it's
goal just
amazing.
to I'd like to do something with all of you, have a separate show of us incredible women.
Yeah, and we'll just
Something to
call it
do with
like
women.
Kick-Ass Women.
Kick
Yeah.
ass and actually a
Okay.
bunch of us from Queens want to have that we graduated 30, 40 years ago. Oh, 40 years ago. Want to have a show.
Oh, that would be cool.
So
Well, I have to let you go because I want to make sure I have time
Okay.
to actually save this. So
Okay.
thank you so much. It's been so
that was
fabulous.
great,
I've really
Kate.
enjoyed it.
Loved
Yeah.
it. Very,
I loved
thank
it
you
too.
for
I could have talked for
inviting
another
me.
hour. That's the problem.
Thanks for inviting me. And
Thanks.
this
I look
is your
forward to
last
seeing
one,
your
isn't it?
prints. No, I got another. I think I've got another 5 or 6
Oh,
planned.
okay.
So we'll see. See what
And
happens.
any help you need with the prints, just
I definitely will. Yeah, I think I need to start
or
to pursue that. And I'm going to apply for my residency. I've committed
okay,
to
let
you.
me know. Do that
Okay,
this
I will.
weekend. Love you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you so much. It was great. Have a great day.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Well, that was great. Thank you so much for joining me with Vicki. She is such a joy and a delight to chat with. And next week we've got Nora House from PI Fine Arts. And so she's going to talk a little bit about how to purchase art as a collector, especially in times of COVID, and as an artist, how you should approach art galleries. So I'm hoping that you can join us. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming here. And we'll see you next week for Talking to Artists.